plain and simple. Today we're going to be making the Mandalorian's Jetpack, completely made from cardboard.
My name is Ryan, and you're watching RJR Productions.
Now before we get into the video, I want you to subscribe, because it helps me reach more people and gain a bigger audience, so I can produce more amazing props like these ones.
So this is the first bit you're seeing of the jetpack right now. So pretty much I have the whole mounting plate for the back side. You can see this is the top and this is the bottom. And on the back, I have a center line going down the middle. Now I'm gonna need to cut out 2 of these, but for now I just have 1. And I'm kind of working on that main section at the top. So what I did is I took a bottle, like a spray bottle, and I cut off the top, and then I cut off a slit at the back to where it could sit flush against this piece. And that works really well, nice in the middle. So pretty much what I need to do now is cut a bunch of grooves out of the top. So I'll cut back once I have that done, and I'll tell you the exact amount. Make sure to sand down any rough edges. Alright, so I got this piece all nice and completed. You can see that it has all the cuts around the top. I did 14 of them. I'm not sure if that's the right amount, but I just tried to space them out around maybe a 1/4 of an inch apart, maybe a little bit more than that. But I'm really happy with how it's looking, so now I need to work on this bit here. So I'm going to try to find something that I can use for that. I'm thinking maybe this paper towel tube, but I'm going to see if I can find some like PVC pipe or something that can fit in there, and then we're going to have to build a cardboard cone on top of it. So I've been working on this for about 30 minutes now, and you can see here I kind of have this little plug that goes inside of this main vent thing. You can see it sits pretty much like that. Pretty much all it is this one PVC fitting I found lying around. I have no idea what it is. It has a threaded insert on this end, but it's slightly bigger than a paper towel tube, as you can see there. Pretty much all I did was glue that onto a plate that I cut out to fit inside of this, wrapped a little detail around that, and then for the top, I just cut out a circle like this, and then I cut out a little wedge, and then when I fold this together, peel off the corrugation obviously, then you get an effect that's like this. And make sure to have the seam facing towards the back of the jetpack. So what I went ahead and did was cut off the bottom of this so it would be the correct length. You can see that line I drew on the jetpack. You can see that this piece pretty much lines up with that line right there. So now what I'm going to do is cut out the main plate that it needs to sit on. That goes this direction right here. So I'll go time lapse that.
I started off by tracing this piece out onto a piece of paper so I could trace it out and make it into my templates so I could put it on my Etsy store for you guys. Pretty much what I did is I glued on that one profile piece that kind of like outlines the whole shape that the thing is going to take on. And then I tried to make sure that it fit that cup size, that little piece at the top, the can that I used from the spray bottle, and it fit perfectly. So I was like, great. So I moved on down towards the middle section. I took a piece of cardboard and I glued it on through that piece. You can kind of see that mid-level right before that first bump. I glued it on and then went down. Make sure to add a support piece at the back that's the same exact height so it sits perfectly fine. Make sure that you have a great reference image. I found one on Google Images. If you just spend a little bit of time looking for one, you're bound to find a decent looking one. I also had 2 paper towel tubes, and these will be used as the edges, kind of those main thruster tubes or the shaft of them. So make sure that if you're making this, collect those in advance from around your house. And you could also just use a toilet paper tube since they don't need to run the whole length. I just chose to do that on mine. Pretty much what you want to do is just make that whole piece go down, like that whole piece that we worked on earlier at the beginning, that main silhouette. Make sure that just moves down all the way to about 2 inches from the bottom. And then you're going to want to cut out a piece for the sides and make sure that the sides, since there's that curve at the very bottom, you can just outline that and make it look nice. Right now I'm working on the butt area, so just make sure that you glue on some detail pieces. And if you're looking at it, you can see some corrugated pieces kind of on that top area and then also on the lower bottom. Pretty much what I use for that is priority mail boxes because those have really good thin corrugated boxes. So that's really good for like small little details. I definitely recommend doing that. I started gluing on some of the smaller pieces, like the tubes. I capped over the ends. Just make sure that you like trace out the circle and then glue it onto the end, because that's going to make your life much easier once making other pieces. You can also see that I glued on the piece that goes over the top edge, and pretty much all we have to do is just make that one piece that goes up and covers over part of that main area. For that piece that is glued over the top, on the back side I peeled off the corrugation just so I could bend it easier. So that's a good technique to implement in all of your builds.
So here's what I got going for the jetpack. I'm kind of working on these areas that go around the sides. And pretty much what I've come up with is just this small little piece. I have it on the other side that just sits right inside this side groove. Here's also a better look at these panels. You got the side and then this inside one that rests in there. So pretty much what I'm going to be doing right now is taking this piece and tracing it out one more time so I can obviously put it on the other side. And then comes the task of covering up all of the gaps. You can see right here that there's this gap right through. So we need to put a piece of cardboard across that covers it up, same as on this side, just making it nice and tidy. So you can see I'm back with the jetpack, and I have all these top details nice and capped off. And then the bottom ones, I have this little detail open just because I think that's how it'll look. You won't even be able to see that detail anyways when you're looking at it from the top. So pretty much what I'm going to do next is fill out this kind of engine detail. So from that bottle I was showing you earlier, this little spray bottle, I cut off the bottom and I'm actually using that for the little jet detail at the bottom. So you can see I cut a couple notches and just put some cardboard behind it. And once you place this here, it kind of acts as like a cool jet. So I'm going to time-lapse me building this up, and then I just have to figure out these details. And originally I was thinking of using the top, kind of giving that thrust effect, but I don't have another one unless I can find one, so I'm probably gonna have to be making that out of cardboard, so we'll see where it goes.
In this quick little time lapse right here, what I started working on was that bottom area, so I put a piece of cardboard to cap it off, and then I glued on that bottle piece that I was showing you earlier. And then I started trimming up pieces that would make out that top fin at the very back of the jetpack. Just make sure that it fits around all the edges and has a nice look, and then you can just cover up all the edges and make sure that it looks nice.
With the main assembly of the jetpack all complete, you can see I have the top area all done and the little jet booster done as well. So pretty much all I need to do before I paint this is just cover up all the corrugation, so you can see at the bottom, and then the sides and all the way around towards the front. That should be a very simple job. And the reason why I don't have this piece glued in yet is because as you saw earlier, there's these two pieces and they fit together. But it's really hard to paint the inside of that, so what I'm going to do is separately paint the inside of this, paint this, and then after I paint both pieces, they can just slip together very easily and be finally glued together like that. So I'll cut back once I have all the corrugation covered up, and then I can explain how I'm going to be doing the jet boosters out of the bottom, because that's the last thing we need to build. Alright, now we got the jetpack all done except for the boosters at the bottom. So now I'm going to go outside and go paint the jetpack, this detail, and then that little canister at the top. I'm going to be painting them black first. I recommend using a gloss black, but since for all the rest of the armor I use a flat black, I'm going to try to keep it consistent. And I'm just going to keep using that flat black, but you should definitely do a higher gloss black paint. And then once that's dry, over the top of that, I'm going to hit it with a dark steel Rust-Oleum can. And now we're back from painting all the pieces. You can see the main jetpack kind of has this nice shiny look to it. You can get it shinier though if you use the gloss black instead of flat black like I did. So pretty much what we're going to do is before we glue on all these details, we're going to take some black paint and just paint it in all the crevices just to give it kind of like a nice pop, because that's what I did with the forearms and it looks really good. Here, let me show you real quick. You can see right here that once you outline all these details, it makes it look really nice and really clean, with all those gaps filled in with some black paint. So that's the effect I'm going to try to replicate on this. And then pretty much all we got to do is slap a big piece of Velcro at the top here, and then a piece of Velcro on the main back piece of the shirt, and then we can attach it together. So I'll be back once I have all the gaps and creases filled in with a little bit of black paint. And here we are with the jetpack all nice and weathered, and I went ahead and glued on the thrusters at the bottom, and then I also attached this detail at the top. You can see how that works out. So pretty much it's all done. All I need to do right now is just add some padding to the backside and then put like a big strip of Velcro kind of like right here, something to attach it to it. So for the pads, I have these two bits from an old backpack, and I'm thinking of attaching them something like this just to give it maybe a little bit of detail. I might also take the strap from the backpack and attach it something like this. I could also use this old belt I have. This could definitely look cool going across like that. So I don't know, I'm just gonna make it look cool. I might throw some mesh in there as well, because then maybe like belt and then strap, and then the area in between, that could be mesh. I think that could look pretty cool. So this is the little piece that I came up with. I pretty much just took that belt, cut a couple pieces for the sides, took a little bit of like the pocket that would go on the side of the backpack, and then the other strap, and then this is the strap at the back, and pretty much this will just sit underneath this piece, something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and glue both of these down, or at least up until this segment, and then I might add a little bit more detail, maybe with like these belt hole loops or whatever, maybe below it or maybe above it. I haven't decided yet, but I think that's what I'm gonna go do.
With all the pieces attached on, it is finished.
Thank you for sticking around for the whole build on how I made Mando's jetpack. It doesn't have that many steps to it, it just has a lot of different parts, so it takes a little while, but it's not complicated at all. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe and also leave a comment on what you want to see me make next, because as soon as the Mandalorian season is over, I'm going to move back to my regular content on making suggestions. But with all that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.